From Dayton, Ohio, it's the 1994 U.S. Air and Trade Show. 90 years ago, Dayton and the Wright brothers gave mankind its wings. Today, Dayton continues to bring aviation to the world. Soar with the Eagles as you join us for this 20th anniversary celebration of flight.
Welcome to the greatest show in the air, the United States Air and Trade Show. I'm Jim Baldridge.
And I'm Ed Meckenbauer. Jim, the gates have just opened, but already tens of thousands of people have passed us here, going into an amazing display of aircraft on the ground and in the air.
First in the air, Jimmy Franklin in a beautiful old Waka. Now, Jimmy's in the cockpit, but who's that out of the wing?
Jim, that's Eddie, appropriately nicknamed the Grip Green, the wing walker for Jimmy Franklin.
Eddie ought to get a grip. Look where he is. And look what's going to happen to this beautiful World War II era biplane. He's going to tail slide. He's going to slide backwards at, what, 70 miles per hour, flying backwards down into the sky. Now he's nose down where he belongs.
Accelerating near to 200 miles an hour. That's quite a view for Eddie Green coming down that way.
Well, you can tell Eddie has a big smile. He always has some bugs on his teeth at the end of the show.
Yep. A nice slow aileron roll and over on his back.
Oh, look at this. Look at this.
A little vertical snap roll on the down line there.
Everything Jimmy Franklin does happens right over the runway and all below about 3,000 feet, Ed.
That's right, Jim. These aircraft were built not far from here in Troy, Ohio. It was a 1936 design, and this aircraft was built in 1940, so it's a vintage machine in the first order.
Jimmy's been flying for 26 years, since he was 19 years old. His beautiful mystery ship is the latest of a couple of airplanes that he's piloted in air shows all around the country.
You know, interestingly, Jim, Eddie Green is 56 years old, and he's been wing walking for 20 years.
You'd think he'd know better, wouldn't you?
At age 36, he should have known better. That's right.
He started this at age 36, huh? We'll be back with more Flying High in the Sky at the United States Air and Trade Show in just a moment.
Now on video, the action-packed 20th anniversary edition of the United States Air Show. Call now for your commemorative video starring the world's finest aerial performers and precision teams. Thrill to the incredible speed and breathtaking precision of the world-famous U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds. Order today the 20th anniversary edition of the United States Air Show, a spectacular celebration of flight for your video library. Just $19.95, plus shipping and handling. Call now for your 20th anniversary collector's edition of the United States Air Show.
Most commercial pilots fly only straight and level.
But Joanne Osterud looks at her weekend flying with a totally different attitude.
Joanne Osterud says the magical twirls and snap rolls of aerobatic flying are like figure skating, freestyle. The skater's dance across the ice depends on metal blades powered by human muscle. Joanne's blades are propeller-powered through the air by a 325-horsepower engine. Still, the blades power and guide Joanne's dance, flipping and spinning across the sky. You may have been up there with Joanne. She's a first flight officer with United Airlines. Joanne will never do this in her Boeing 727, but she certainly has the piloting skill to do it in her Ultima 10300S. Talk about skills. In 1989, she broke both the women's and men's record for outside loops. That's the really uncomfortable kind, where blood rushes to your head and your body wants to tear away from the aircraft. After completing the necessary 181 outside loops to break the record, she was feeling good. She hung in there for more. Her record, 208. She seems to like punishment. In 1991, Joanne Osterud set world records for inverted distance and inverted endurance, flying upside down across Canada for 4 hours, 38 minutes, and 10 seconds. 658 miles, hanging upside down in the straps and piloting her airplane. A Batwoman.
It's called your bat reflex, and everybody's got it. It's your ability to stay upside down, and you can develop that. So I had this contraption in my garage, and also this thing I carried on my United trips that I could hang myself upside down in hotel rooms, and I was just lucky the maid never walked in.
Joanne has always suffered for her dream of flying. As a very determined 2-year-old, she decided she wanted to fly. She leaped off a stool, crashed into the refrigerator, and crash landed on the kitchen floor. But even then, she had a dream. She has done now what it takes to make that dream come true.
You really have to devote yourself to it. It's like anything you want to do. You've got to put passion into it. And whether it's flying for United or flying for air shows, you've got to put yourself into it 100% or else it's not worth doing.
What she does is hard, mentally and physically.
In anything you do, whether it be flying a jet fighter, I mean, no one's going to let a stupid person or a person who's out of it take up an X million-dollar machine. Or if you're doing aerobatics close to the ground, if you've done something stupid and your brain is not quite where it should be, you're not safe. It's just not worth it. There's so many other things out there to get high on.
This is not child's play, but Joanne says flying makes her feel like a kid. And at 5'3", weighing 100 pounds, she looks a lot like a kid. And that's good, because she has some important things to say to kids.
Usually, if you have a dream, if you start to make it come true, you find out that the reality is so much greater than the dream. I just wanted to learn to fly. Once you start making your dream come true, it's just all the better.
Joanne's dream of flying was forbidden by her parents. She actually didn't learn to fly until she was in college, and whoa, look at her now.
Well, she sure gets the most out of this Ultimate 10 aircraft. Built in Canada, this aircraft is designed for acrobatic maneuvers and inverted air, pushing up now in an inverted maneuver.
Ooh, look at this. And this is a light aircraft, 1,200 pounds.
That's right, Jim. Yep, and a biplane to get maximum maneuverability. Now she pulls it straight up in vertical, snap roll over there. 2 snap rolls to an inverted position.
The beautiful sky we're watching this in, and we're going to see, I think, a kind of a snap roll. Watch this.
Yeah, watch here, Jim. She pulls straight.
I don't know what to call. I don't know what to call this. You
roll,
tell us. And there it goes. It's kind of a slide over. What is this?
Slide over. She gets the airplane in a rolling mover, then pushes forward. And it's called a shoulder roll.
A shoulder roll.
That's right. So you can just imagine your body rolling over your shoulder, like a roll when you're a kid.
Joanne Osterud, an exciting young woman at the 1994 United States Air and Trade Show in Dayton, Ohio.
In an emergency, a military pilot has his ejection seat to get him safely to the ground. The Golden Knights jump out of good airplanes on purpose.
Something you and I would never do, Ed, but the Golden Knights do it, and they stop the show wherever they are. This airplane is a C-31. It's the Fokker F-27. Look at these folks coming down. Look at those canopies. Those are really aircraft wings, in a sense, aren't they, Ed?
That's right, Jim. They're 20 feet from wingtip to wingtip, so to say, and 12 feet from the front to back. And they keep their rigid shape because they're really like 7 little cells that fill up with air, ram air in the front. So even though he's upside down, he keeps his shape.
Well, it looks like he or she is losing the canopy here, but that's not happening at all.
That's right.
Okay, they've stacked. 2 have departed.
And now they're going straight down, Jim. And again, that ram airtight parachute keeps its shape, and at the last minute, they split.
The Golden Knights are based at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. There are really 4 teams, 2 demonstration and 2 competition teams that travel the country and sometimes the world, showing what U.S. Army parachutists can do. Here's an old friend of yours, Ed, who flies real slow, but also real fast.
Bob Redinger first came to Dayton in 1979 as the first F-16 pilot. He had the crowd just oohing and on. But Jim, this glider is just too beautiful for words.
It's a very unusual aircraft at the United States Air and Trade Show.
And this odd-looking aircraft is the U-2 spy plane.
That odd-looking aircraft in the air is the GB Racer.
The original GBs were built in 1932 for an assault on the world speed record and for the other various races that were going on at the time, the Bendix and the Thompson Trophy races. The R1, which was a sister ship of this one, was flown to a world speed record by General Jimmy Doolittle in 1932. The record was 296.28, and that record stood for 4 years. This airplane had a lot of bad luck and some bad pilots during the 1930s. All the original GBs were crashed. The R models were crashed within a year after they were constructed. They only accumulated like 30 hours total time on the airframes. So the pilots were inexperienced and the airplanes were top-of-the-line technology like the space shuttle would be today. They just weren't really up to the task in 1932. This airplane was designed around the concept of the lowest drag profile that they understood in 1932 was the shape of a raindrop. That's a fineness ratio of like 3 to 1. This airplane intimidates a lot of people because it looks like it can't fly, kind of like a bumblebee. This airplane does some unique maneuvers that other airplanes don't do that well. One of them is flying on its edge, or on the side, which we call knife edge, without using any lift from the wings. The airplane is still as dangerous as it was in 1932. This airplane was built exactly as the original, so it has the same good habits and bad habits.
The 82nd has been jumping into harm's way for more than half a century now, but the history of this famous military unit goes back even further. As World War I raged across Europe, the Army formed the 82nd Division at Camp Gordon, Georgia. Because its members included soldiers from all 48 states, the 82nd was nicknamed the All-Americans. That AA still appears on the 82nd shoulder patch. Only months after it was organized, the 82nd went to battle. 3 major campaigns in France in that war to end all wars. In the next one, World War II, the 82nd went airborne, making parachute and glider assaults into Sicily and Italy. Then came D-Day and the largest airborne assault in history. Members of the 82nd were among the first to fight in Normandy and the first to die. 5,245 paratroopers killed, wounded, or missing. A few months later, the 82nd jumped again into German-held Holland. Even when the war ended, the work of the 82nd wasn't over. It was ordered to Berlin for occupation duty. Finally, the 82nd Airborne returned to the United States and made Fort Bragg, North Carolina, its home. But the 82nd didn't stay home. There was combat training all over the world and wars or police actions in the Dominican Republic, Vietnam, Grenada, and Panama. Many of the troops jumping here today are veterans of Operation Desert Storm. And this jump over Dayton isn't showbiz. It's an actual training assault. The 82nd must practice constantly in all kinds of places. They're always on call to jump and fight anywhere in the world on 18 hours' notice.
An airfield seizure is a standard mission performed by the 82nd Airborne Division. To prepare for contingency plans, the division trains for air seal seizure operations, and depending upon the defensive force, normal operations require the deployment of a battalion task force of approximately 700 to 1,000 paratroopers to seize an airfield. Today, you'll see approximately 450 paratroopers, representing every unit of the 82nd Airborne Division.
Air transportation furnished by the United States Air Force, C-141 Starlifter Jim out of Charleston Air Force Base.
Coming in at about, 800 feet there, Ed, but that's not quite the way they normally do it on a real combat.
No, sir. In an actual combat situation, they do it about 4 o'clock in the morning from 500 feet in the dark.
You cannot hear these aircraft as low as they are and as loud as they are until they're right on top of you. When you're on the ground, this is going to be a big surprise.
The element of surprise is essential to their successful operation. Their job, airfield assault, secure a beachhead in which other aircraft and equipment can land in a hurry.
This jump over the United States Air and Trade Show in Dayton today is a commemoration of the jump of Operation Overlord, the jump over Normandy 50 years ago.
And you and every other fighter pilot in today's Air Force trained on this aircraft, the T-38 Talon. That's right, Jim, but the World War II fighter pilot trained on a North American AT-6 Texan, which Dayton native Bill Leff still loves to fly.
Bill Leff compares aerobatic flying to being an artist, using the sky as a canvas and the plane as a brush. Bill was born and raised here in Dayton, just 3 blocks from the home of the Wright brothers. Bill returned recently to talk to us about growing up here and his love of aviation.
Well, I was thinking when I was coming into land this morning, it's kind of strange because it's been 3 or 4 years since I've been here. And everything really started with aviation with me right here at the Marine Air Park. At that time it was called South Dayton Airport. I got my first airplane ride here. I did my first air show here with the help of Harold Johnson encouraging me to get into the air show business. Flew my first tail draggers here. That's an airplane with a tail wheel versus a nose wheel. I also made my first parachute jump here. And back in my younger, bolder days.
It started with models, and it started with just interest in aviation. And I remember used to write to every aviation company there was to send him information about this plane or that plane when he was probably 8 or 10 years old. And they would send him everything in the world about their product and the airplanes they made. And our house was flooded with mail at times.
Well, I first got involved with Bill in, I think, 1963. He was still a student, I believe, at that time at Oakwood High School. And he was very much interested in flying and joined the local glider club, which at that time was known as the Soaring Society of Dayton. And his father wasn't too happy about Bill flying, unfortunately, and I did what I could to assure his father that Bill was a very good pilot and was going to make an excellent pilot.
This is Oakwood High School, and this is where I went from grades 7 through 12. And Jim Shantz, who was my science teacher for several of those years, was also interested in flying. So he encouraged me to use what I was learning in my flight training as school projects too. This is Hawthorne Hill, the home of the Wright brothers, and this used to be on my newspaper route when I was about 13, 14 years old. And actually it's where I got the money to learn to fly, was this newspaper route.
On this nostalgic visit to Dayton, Bill ran into his old friend Harold Johnson, and they swapped stories about planes and life. Bill is grateful to all the people who nurtured his interest in flying when he was a kid. As his way of saying thank you, he encourages youngsters whenever he can. At heart, Bill is very much a youngster, still learning, dreaming, and most of all, flying, because he loves it.
This 1938 design AT-6 Texan was the most widely used advanced trainer of the Second World War.
This is a powerful, really big airplane to be doing this, isn't it, Ed?
That it is, Jim. It's 550 horsepower Pratt & Whitney Wasp engine in it, and it's big and powerful, but very, very forgiving, as trainers are supposed to be.
We hear a lot about World War II planes that are no longer around. I think there's one flying B-29, and it's here in Dayton. A lot of these T-6 Texans around.
A very, very popular airplane, and again, Jim, very rugged, again, because of the training environment in which it was utilized.
Now, Bill Left's one of the nicest guys in aerobatics. What's the twinkling light under the wings there? Is that a smiley signal or something?
It's a smiley signal, and Bill has a very exciting pyro show, which he flies at night, and those lights are a little more visible then. But it's going to be one of the more popular things of air shows, is acrobatics at night.
It's Bill Left.
And safety is the key.
Thank you, Tim. Coming up later, a most unusual look at the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds. We'll be right back. This MH-53 helicopter supports special operations for our military services. Aerobatic expert Sean Tucker has some special operations, and sometimes you'll think he's hanging in the air in a helicopter.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is known as the centrifuge, the aggressive end-over-end tumble. I like to call it gyrobatic. Watch now as he comes around. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4, there's 5, there's 6, there's 7, there's 8, there's 9.
There's the perfect maneuver. You can get 9 only if you enter at exactly 230 miles an hour, and if you get to minus 6 Gs in the tumbling arc.
I've got a headache just watching this. Look at this. This is incredible in an airplane, all in a very small amount of airspace right over the runway. Top altitude, what, maybe 500, 600 feet for Sean?
You got it, 500, 600 feet, and he only gets up to about 1,000 feet in some of the vertical maneuvers before he starts his tail slide. But he really gets the most out of this little airplane. Again, Jim, a little less than 1,200 pounds show weight on this aircraft. 20 feet wingtip to wingtip, give you some idea of playground he's got.
Sean Tucker was the first performer in airshow history to win both the Bill Barber Award for Showmanship and the Art Scholl Memorial Showmanship Award in the same year, which is 1992. Look at this.
And here's an example of his unique skills. 120 miles an hour backwards. He's actually flying the airplane, inputting reverse controls to keep it going straight down. Snaps it out, and straight down.
How fast backwards?
120 miles an hour in reverse in an airplane.
This is a show unlike really any other anywhere in the country. The Sean Tucker performance is just amazing, and you can appreciate it on television, and as interesting and impressive as it is, to see it in person is even more amazing. Look how low he is. His scarf, if he had one, would have dragged it on the runway.
And Sean loves negative maneuvers. Outside push over there, up into the vertical, a little vertical snap roll, and then down the backside.
Ooh, look at this.
He just never stays wings level for very long, does he?
I don't think he likes straight and level flying yet. I just have that feeling.
Right you are, Jim. Sean is really emotionally involved with acrobatics and flying his airplane. But when he comes to Dayton, Ohio, he does a whole lot more than just fly his aircraft through our skies.
I have to be a professional. I can't be stupid. Oh, yes, and I can't be stupid.
Words aerobatics pilots like Sean Tucker tell themselves in the air. Words Sean Tucker tells young people every chance he gets. This time, Sean's visiting St. Joseph's Center in Dayton, a place for troubled kids. He tells them their dreams can come true, like his dream of flight.
And that's why I'm here today, is tell you guys, have a dream. Doesn't matter what it is, but if you have one dream and you go for it, and if you go for it, it's going to work, man. I guarantee you. But you got to believe in yourself.
The B-1B Lancer has been a popular attraction for many years.
Development of the B-1, like every other plane in the Air Force, is headquartered right here in Dayton at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
But Jim, we had a new high-flying, exciting aircraft this year.
The brand new bat-like B-2 bomber.
The nickname of this airplane is the Spirit. It's kind of a ghost-like airplane, really, with the idea of being minimum reflected radar energy. That's why you see the unique shape, the serrated edges there.
This is like no other airplane in the world. This flying wing design, really a 1930s idea that was waiting for 90s technology to make it work. The B-2 bomber, this one of only 2 operational in the country.
Hi, I'm Captain Jeff Kendall with the F-15, the East Coast Demonstration Team. We're located out of Langley Air Force Base, Virginia, and we're here at the Dayton International Air Show today to show you a little bit about what the airplane can do. Hi, I'm Captain Desatel. This is Captain Butler. Captain O'Neill from the 75th Fighter Squadron, part of the 23rd Wing. Flying Tigers. We'll be doing a C-130, F-16, and A-10 flyby today.
My name is Mike Warbus. I'm a MC-130 hotel pilot from Kirtland Air Force Base, Albuquerque. My hometown is Lake Stevens, Washington. Glad to be here. I'll be flying the MC-130H flare ship this afternoon.
These C-130 aircraft have been built now for 40 years. They're still building them.
Hello, I'm Lutz Muir from Fighter Bombing Clinic from Memmingen. And that's my backseater, Rainer Hinterberger. We are flying the Tornado, German, Italian, British Tornado.
This is the Trade Show Pavilion, where aerospace companies from around the world gather to buy and sell the latest in aviation technology. A lot of the technology developed for aviation in space will soon be part of your everyday life on the ground.
In fact, a lot of things we as pilots are used to looking at are coming right down here to Earth.
What's this?
Pilots call these HUDs, heads-up displays. But later this year, you'll be able to buy one for your car that has navigation information on it. Heads-up display right on your windshield. And there's a whole lot more going on.
We use these things for fun, and we don't think much about them. Who'd guess something like this would get its start in the military? It's happening more and more. For example, strong, lightweight composite materials developed for military airplanes are being used on civilian planes and elsewhere. And satellites orbited for military navigation and reconnaissance have revolutionized whole industries, from television to weather forecasting. These days, military researchers are actively seeking civilian uses for their discoveries, and the Air Force Materiel Command, headquartered at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base here in Dayton, is taking the lead in conjunction with America's top businesses and universities.
A fundamental tenet of national security is economic security. And by taking the taxpayers' money, which we are using to develop technology and facilities for military applications, we find that the vast majority of that technology also has possible application in the commercial sector.
This array of special sensors on school buses is called Forewarn, and it has already saved at least one life. Forewarn tells drivers when children are in blind spots around the bus. It grew out of military research on microwave radar. And these guys will soon be getting a boost from a system the Air Force used in weapons tests. Tiny data transmitters attached to dolphins will allow scientists to learn much more about dolphin behavior. That will help us protect them better. The famous smart bombs of the Gulf War are now battling breast cancer. The technology and computer enhancement that made them work is now helping doctors diagnose cancer earlier, faster, and more accurately. And look at this. Computer virtual reality technology designed to help pilots fight enemy tanks is being used to guide doctors during an operation. Perhaps not far away, a 3D virtual reality helmet for surgeons to make their work even more precise. After that, a breakthrough in computer storage. This cube could contain everything in the Library of Congress. A portable laser scalpel that can cut without bleeding and cauterize wounds as it goes. It will be carried by medics on military battlefields and civilian ambulances. Whether you fly or not, aviation technology is changing your life. And much of that technology is still being developed here where it all began, Dayton, Ohio, the birthplace of aviation. One of the most impressive sights at any air show, these four beautiful steermen, the Red Baron Squadron, Ed.
When you talk about a sacred cow or a wonderful airplane or something that really epitomizes World War II pilot training, this is the aircraft, the Boeing Stearman aircraft.
This Red Baron Squadron was named for, of course, the flamboyant Baron Manfred von Richthofen, back in World War I, a German fighter pilot and head of the flying circus.
Absolutely, and these four aircraft, one of the few four-ship civilian air acts around the country, really do put on a tremendous show. See them there doing a pair of loops, two-ship by two-ship.
And every now and then we hear this really unique sound from these four airplanes, and there's a reason why the sound here is so unique, isn't there, Ed?
That's right. They've got a 600 horsepower engine, and when the tips get going, they're almost supersonic, and that's what you hear there, supersonic clap. Now, this is really one of the pretty things that you can do with four ships. Just kind of a squirrel cage. You just imagine your little gerbils or squirrels running around in their little cage in your kid's bedroom, huh?
Look at the sky we have over Dayton for the 1994 United States Air and Trade Show. Up into another kind of a squirrel cage type maneuver and back down.
And always right in front of the crowd, Jim, the maximum airspeed these old airplanes do is 186 miles an hour. So they don't get very far away. It's always up close and personal.
We're watching four ships now, but there are actually 10 pilots who are part of the Red Baron Flying Squadron because these guys travel all over the country. They're constantly flying air shows and special appearances different places, and it takes 10 pilots to keep up with this grueling schedule.
They could almost use more airplanes out of over 8,000 that were built. These things are so rugged, Jim, almost half of them are still flying today, 50 years later. And when they're not in the air, these Red Barons are real friends.
The Red Barons came to Dayton and threw a party. The Barnstorming Squadron is sponsored by Red Baron Pizza, and these pilots enjoy children as much as children enjoy pizza. These kids are all patients or former patients at Children's Medical Center here in Dayton. The founder of Red Baron Pizza believes it's important to give something back to a community that supported them. As the smoke-trailing biplanes travel from city to city and the lost art of barnstorming comes to life, so do the smiles on children's faces. This Marine Corps Harrier jet can lift off like a helicopter and then zip into combat at nearly supersonic speeds. This is modern technology. Once upon a time, these beautiful World War II warbirds were modern technology.
Leading a really fantastic armada here today, Jim, the B-17, Queen of the Skies.
Isn't that a beautiful airplane?
Painstakingly put together. Holy mackerel. We're not really dropping anything. A little pyrotechnic effect here from some special friends on the ground. And here's a really beautiful sight, Jim, a one-of-a-kind.
This is Fifi, the B-29 bomber. Beautiful. It was still, I guess, the biggest bomber in a sense in the entire world.
Biggest propeller-driven bomber, and it's the only B-29 still flying.
Each of these airplanes has an, as we have another explosion, another strafing run from a World War II fighter plane. What is this, Ed?
This is the Curtiss P-40 Warhawk with a famous 23rd Wing Tiger Shark on the front.
And here?
The B-25 Mitchell, which General Doolittle flew in his famous raid in Tokyo.
This was a test, Ed.
Got his bomb bay open. He's ready to assault the crowd here today. Followed up closely by really one of the more beautiful aircraft of the Second World War, the P-47, the Thunderbolt, the Jug.
You know, there are a lot of war heroes who no longer are flying, but from World War II who are reliving a lot of adventures watching these airplanes here in Dayton today and on television.
And here's a great partnership, Jim. The British Lancaster bomber being closely followed by a consolidated B-24, the Liberator. A little Navy action here with a F-8 Bearcat.
Well, they're great airplanes.
And for you salty dogs out there, here's a torpedo bomber, the TBM.
Many of these airplanes belong to the Confederate Air Force out of Midland, Texas, and they have about 135 older aircraft from the World War II era that they buy someplace and then restore, and in many cases fly. They don't have a big Air Force base down there for the Confederate Air Force in Midland, so many of the members take these aircraft home and keep them at home or near home and take care of them.
You come to air shows like we have here at the United States Air and Trade Show as well. It's really a unique opportunity to see a large number of these aircraft together.
Ooh, look at this. There's a little extra edge of realism here at the United States Air and Trade Show, enjoying these beautiful World War II warbirds. This could be a cover picture from Time magazine, 1945. The first Americans told of a powerful and frightening beast of the air, a creature with parts of a hawk, a man, and an eagle. From its place in the sky, it could hurl lightning bolts that would shake the heavens and the earth. They called it Thunderbird. Thunderbirds still fly in the skies of America. The United States Air Force Thunderbirds dazzle the world with the grace, beauty, and power of their precision flying demonstrations. Thunderbird's pilots are among the very best in the world at the very demanding and serious business of flying fighter planes. Sometimes, even out of their aircraft, these men seem like machines. They're the product of years of study and training and millions of dollars worth of the highest technology. But this year's Thunderbirds aren't afraid to show you their human side. Check these moves. We asked the Thunderbirds to try some of their jet maneuvers on the ground.
Not nearly enough power. Not nearly enough power.
They don't go fast enough.
What's your assessment so far of the formation work here in the go-karts, Colonel?
They don't do half as good on these karts as they do in the airplanes.
Out of the cockpit, the 1994 Thunderbirds are more approachable and more relaxed than Thunderbirds teams of the past. But inside their F-16 Fighting Falcons, they take their jobs very seriously.
Just a tremendous opportunity to represent the Air Force in our country. I mean, I think it's one of those things in life that you just dream about doing.
These Thunderbirds are very serious about serving as role models for children as well as adults all over the world. In a rare group interview, clad in standard issue flight suits rather than Thunderbird blue, they talked of human emotions and their own role models.
For me, the reason why I'm here is role models. I'm a firm believer in the power of role models. As a young kid, my father was an instructor at the Air Force Academy, and I met some guys that had gone to school there and graduated from there. And I was really impressed with them, and I wanted to be like them.
No, I don't really have a specific role model. I can really say that I've tried to emulate other than my father. And I say that in all honesty and without trying to be hokey or anything like that, but he certainly had by far the largest influence on me.
A person that works hard, honest, does the right things, that kind of person. So all those type of people are my kind of heroes.
We asked the commander, Lieutenant Colonel Steve Anderson, how it feels as Thunderbird leader to take the team through these breathtaking maneuvers.
It's a little bit like a ballet for me. There's kind of a flow to the routine. They know what kind of G's they're going to expect here and there. They know how fast I'm going to roll. And they anticipate how I'm going to fly my airplane. That's how they stay in position.
Yeah, this strikes me as a little bit ironic. What you folks do seems to be very dangerous, and yet you're not allowed to do certain dangerous sports. Is that true?
If we go out and be rugged individualists and somehow break something, we're either down a man, if it's one of these guys, or we're done for the season if it's me, or however long I'm out, and that's the big reason.
Okay, give me a funny story.
Yeah, nothing like riding a horse in Cheyenne, Wyoming. The wild horse. The name was Blaze, and he didn't care for me too much. Started out nice and slow coming down the straightaway in this big stadium where thousands of people are watching. Make it about halfway down, and these horses have done this for a number of years, and they know now it is time to run. And they did that.
That was called being a rugged individual.
That's right.
We told Walter to cut that out.
You know, everybody looks up to you guys, thinks you're heroes. What do you tell a high school kid who aspires to be a Thunderbird?
Tell them, I'm exactly like you, I'm only older. Do the very best that you can at every given opportunity, good things will happen to you.
Yeah, you just had that conversation today.
I did, yeah. It's very important. You are given opportunities. You don't serve your country by just being in the military. There are tremendous opportunities to serve your country. The doctor that invented the artificial heart served his country, and he never wore a uniform. You know, where you are, in whatever role you have, whether you're a student or digging ditches or you're a doctor, you do the very best that you can at your job.
Serving your country by doing the best you can. Sounds kind of corny sometimes, but not from these guys. They're serious about their flying and serious about the Air Force and serious about their country. But that doesn't mean when the time is right, they can't be serious about having fun.
It's only just begun. Let the system grind it down. And rise above them. Reach up to the stars with us tonight. I mean it.
These are the Air Force Thunderbirds.
Nothing else needs to be said.
The high
The United States Air and Trade Show comes to an end, Ed, right here where it all began.
And right here in front of the 1908 Wright B Flyer, the world's first military aircraft.
It's been a great day of flying here in Dayton.
I'm Ed McIntyre.
I'm Jim Baldridge. Thanks to you for being part of the 1994 United States Air and Trade Show. We'll see you next year.